Hello. Hello, nerds. Welcome. It's Vlogmas Day 3, and I have 3 things to show you. Thematic. Today on Vlogmas, I have a little discussion I want to do about my favorite role-playing games, because I think this is a pretty common topic, and I think you will probably have your own favorites, but I want to show you the 3 role-playing games that right now, in this moment, I consider to be the most significant RPGs for me. They're the games that I will pretty much always play if I have the opportunity to. They're the games I go back to and I read on the regular, and they're games that inspire me every time I pick them up. So in no particular order, Adam Koebel's top 3 role-playing games. Role-playing game number 1 should come as no surprise to anyone. If you spend any time around me, if you have ever listened to me speak on a stream or a podcast, if you ever heard me open my damn mouth when it comes to role-playing games, you've heard the name of this game. It's the Burning Wheel. This is the gold version of the Burning Wheel. There are older versions of it. There's the revised version, which came in 2 books, and then there's Burning Wheel Classic, which I have never seen in my life. Burning Wheel is a game that I have played and enjoyed and loved since 2004. Which is 14 years ago, God help me. And it's been really great being able to be a fan of the game, getting to meet the designer, getting to be friends with the designer, and then being invited to write the foreword to a supplement. Like, that's just such a beautiful arc. It's like getting to be a part of a thing you love. And that, for me, is the great thing about role-playing games, right? You can love a thing in an interactive way that, like, a TV show or a movie might not afford you. If you want to know why I like Burning Wheel and what it's about, I'm not gonna talk too much about that because years ago I made a video. It's like a PowerPoint presentation. It's like an hour and a half long. It's on the YouTube channel. It's called Why I Love the Burning Wheel. Go and watch that. I've done 3 different series using the Burning Wheel over at Roll20, and everyone has been super fun. It's a character-driven fantasy RPG. I think it's perfect for Twitch. It's just the right level of crunchiness, and I have spent enough time with it now that I would consider it to be one of the few games that I have kind of mastered. It will always be near and dear to my heart, and even as I say this, I'm like clutching my golden codex, my book, tight in my hands. If you haven't played it, if you haven't checked it out, if you feel yourself to be aware of but maybe intimidated by Burning Wheel, you should definitely give it a try, or at least watch me and some other cool people play it on the Roll20 channel, because it's something special. There aren't that many game designs that I think will endure long term. This is one of them. Another game that I think is a huge deal and has obviously been a huge inspiration for me is our second game, Apocalypse World. This is my much loved battered copy of first edition Apocalypse World. So this is Apocalypse World. Apocalypse World is a Vincent Baker game about the post-apocalypse, and it brought us the Apocalypse engine, brought us Powered by the Apocalypse, which brought us games like award-winning tabletop RPG Dungeon World, Sagas of the Icelanders, Monster Hearts. I could go on. There's so many of them. Apocalypse World is good not only because it's a game. The game itself has a clear, concise core mechanic applied in a bunch of different ways. It's extruded and reconstructed and rebuilt in so many ways in all the hacks. And I think that's because of the elegance of the original design. It's also important because of its impact on tabletop RPG design in general. Apocalypse World is responsible for so many new game designers, myself included. If it weren't for Vincent's charity with the system, this openness to, please, hack this game, make your own, publish it, I think that the game design world of 2018 would be very, very different. And I think that John Harper is carrying that torch with Blades in the Dark. I think Blades is sort of the new Apocalypse World. But for me, in 2010, as a fledgling game designer, Apocalypse World was like a punch to the face. It has amazing tone. The writing in it is fantastic, though for some people I know that it's not. It's a little like difficult to parse, and I think that only makes the game better. I think it's important that Vincent was able to take a stand and say, this is what Apocalypse World feels like. And that's really important. I've always found that very inspiring. It plays like a dream. The game has a momentum that gets away from you. It's a rampaging beast is what this game is, and you should definitely check it out. Apocalypse World, Vincent Baker. Now, my third favorite game, in no particular order, we're gonna take it way back. This game has had so many iterations, so many editions, so many versions. Everybody's got their favorite, and they like to argue about it. This one is mine. Game number 3. It's Dungeons and Dragons. And not just any Dungeons and Dragons, basic Dungeons and Dragons. And not just any basic Dungeons and Dragons, this fucker. So this is the Moldve edited version of Dungeons and Dragons, the Dungeons and Dragons fantasy adventure game. It was an introductory version of the game. It's only like it's pamphlet size. It's only 64 pages. It is bright red. It came in a bright pink box. I have maybe 6 or 7 copies of it because I give them away and lose them and whatever. But this game, this for me is the quintessential essence of D&D. This is D&D boiled down to exactly what you want it to be. It's dungeon crawling, it's fighting monsters, it's getting treasure, and it's gaining levels. Now, there's another game that comes after. There's a blue book called Cook Edition. It's the advanced version of this. I don't like it. It sucks. It's sometimes referred to as BX D&D, and a lot of classic adventures, such as, for example, the Keep on the Borderlands, those are built on and intended to be used with basic D&D. So when I need a dungeon crawl that involves people drawing maps and fighting monsters, or if I need a game that supports up to 12 players, I will reach for basic D&D. We've played this once on stream. You can watch me and Hillary and Dave and John Harper and Andrew play basic D&D in Old School Adventures on Roll20. So Roll20 presents Old School Adventures. You can check that out. It is a game that I always go back to. I love playing it. And if you want a game that's very deeply in pawn stance, you're not really doing a lot of characterization, but you're trudging through dungeons and fighting monsters, I love it. I will always go back to it. Basic D&D has a very special place in my heart. And it's funny because it's not the first version of D&D that I played. I don't like it because of nostalgia. I didn't really start playing Basic until 2011 or so. But once I got my hands on that little red book, I was hooked. So those are my 3 favorite RPGs. I have a ton more below that, but those are the 3 that make up the top spot. I also really like Exalted, Pendragon, Mage, all of this shit back here, all of these cool ass games. So I have a ton of favorite RPGs, and I think that an RPG is like a tool. You want the right one for the job. So maybe if I don't want to do post-apocalypse or fantasy, I'm going to pick up another game. Stars Without Number is like a very close 4th on that list. I'm not going to go into the list. What's your favorite RPG? Let me know in the comments. That's it. Day 3. Vlogmas. We're done. Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow.